Two angels are trying to warn you. This is their final attempt before it's too late. Two angels are trying to warn you. This is their final attempt before it's too late. There are moments in your life when heaven bends low, not with thunder or lightning, but with a whisper so sacred it echoes only in the silence of your soul. Two angels have been trying to reach you, not with fear, but with urgency, not to frighten you, but to awaken you. They are not distant beings in robes and wings. They are divine signals placed within you. One speaks through your imagination, the other through conviction. Together, they form the voice of your higher self, sent to realign your steps before you wander too far into the wilderness of delay, regret, and spiritual danger. You've felt the restlessness, the dreams that disturb your sleep, the repeated signs that something is off. These are not coincidences. This is not just anxiety. This is heaven's final attempt to reach you before the shift becomes irreversible. You stand at the intersection of obedience and consequence, and they are warning you not to take another step without realignment. The door to escape the storm is still open, but only for a moment more. Listen now, before what was once a whisper becomes a silence too late to undo. Angels of inner warning, how divine messages speak through you. There is a language older than words, older than scripture, older than the earth itself. It is the voice of the Spirit speaking through the very fabric of your being. And when the two angels are sent to warn you, they do not arrive through flashes in the sky or visions in the clouds. They emerge from within, quietly, consistently, and unmistakably. One speaks through the faculty of imagination, and the other through deep conviction. These two divine messengers don't need wings because they ride the currents of your thoughts, feelings, dreams, and intuitions. You've likely ignored them before, thinking it was just a weird feeling or just a thought. But make no mistake, this is not just a thought. These are angels on assignment. They have come to reroute your course before the road you walk caves in beneath your feet. Most people look for signs in the world, waiting for something dramatic to occur before they believe God is speaking. But the true sign comes from within. These angels do not dwell outside you. They are aspects of your soul, higher dimensions of your awareness reaching down to warn the lower self that danger is ahead. And while you're searching for confirmation in your circumstances, these angels are burning within your consciousness, giving you the only warning that truly matters. The angel of imagination shows you a future you keep dismissing, the vision of your calling, the relationship that's draining your soul, the environment poisoning your growth. It gives you glimpses, flashes, ideas that seem too much to pursue or too uncomfortable to act on. But that vision is not fantasy, it is a rescue plan. Then comes the second angel, conviction. This one burns in your chest like fire. It gives you no rest until you make a choice. You'll try to distract yourself, justify staying where you are, convince yourself it's not that serious, but the feeling won't leave. These two angels, imagination and conviction, are relentless not because they want to scare you, but because they are the only things keeping you from walking into a future that will cost you more than you realize. They are warning you about that business partner who's secretly draining your spirit. They are warning you about that relationship you know you've outgrown. They are warning you about the lie you're living that's becoming harder to maintain. You keep praying for a sign, but these two angels are the sign. They don't shout, they don't argue, they nudge, they pull, and if you don't listen, they'll withdraw. Not because they've abandoned you, but because silence becomes the final act of mercy when you won't obey the sound. The tragedy is not that God stops speaking. The tragedy is that you train yourself not to hear. That's why this is their final attempt, not final because they hate you, final because the moment of shift is near. When you miss the prompting, consequences become the teacher, and pain is a louder angel, though less gentle. If you've felt like life keeps repeating the same cycles, it's not punishment. It's the angel still trying to get through to you. Patterns are messages. Recurring pain is a signal. Repetitive failure is not bad luck. It's the divine trying to say you're still on the wrong path. The moment you truly hear them, everything begins to change. The room you feel trapped in begins to crack. The storm you thought would destroy you turns out to be the clearing of the old, but the price of not listening is high. When you silence imagination, you lose your future. When you ignore conviction, you betray your soul. You were never meant to be stuck, but staying in the wrong place too long will eventually feel like a curse, because the grace to remain has already left. These angels are not external. They are you, activated at a higher frequency. They know what you've forgotten. They carry the memory of your divine assignment, the blueprint of your purpose, and they are trying to bring you back to alignment. But alignment requires surrender. You cannot carry old habits, old identities, and old comforts into the new season. That's why the angels are warning you. It's time to let go. Let go of what drains you. Let go of what you've outgrown. Let go of that version of you that keeps negotiating with fear. If you're feeling uncomfortable right now, good. That's the sound of transformation. Discomfort is a holy alarm clock. You've been sleeping too long in a reality that no longer fits you. The angels are knocking. Don't wait until life collapses what you refuse to walk away from. Some exits are deliverance in disguise. Some rejections are divine redirections, and some endings are the mercy of heaven ripping away what you idolized so it doesn't destroy you. You think God is silent, but in truth he's speaking louder than ever through these two angels. Through the ache in your chest, through the picture in your spirit, through the storm in your peace, it's time to stop asking for more signs. The signs have come. They are warning you. This is the final call. After this, the silence comes, not as punishment, but as a turning. You'll either align by faith or be corrected by force. The angels are not here to scare you. They are here to save you, but their voice cannot compete with your distractions. So be still, be honest, and be brave. Your soul knows the truth, and the truth is, it's time to trust the vision, time to obey the conviction, time to follow the warning before it becomes a consequence. These two angels are not random. They were sent for you right now, for this exact moment, and what you do with this warning will determine the outcome of everything that comes next. The danger of delay, why your obedience to God's voice can't wait. There comes a moment in every soul's journey when hesitation becomes disobedience, and delay becomes danger. We often believe we have more time, more chances, more room to figure things out, but when the two angels come with their final warning, time is no longer on your side. This is not about rushing or being reckless, it's about spiritual urgency. Heaven doesn't operate on man's clock, but on divine timing, and when the Spirit sends an impression, a vision, or a command through your inner voice, it is not a suggestion. It is a divine alert. You cannot afford to ignore it. One of the greatest deceptions is the illusion that delayed obedience is still obedience. It is not. It is resistance masked in passivity. When God places a conviction in your heart, that moment becomes sacred. It becomes a gate of opportunity, and if you do not walk through it, it will close. Too many people think they are waiting on God, when in reality, God has already moved and is now waiting on them. You feel the stirring. You feel the urgency. You've heard the inner voice say, leave, start, let go, go back, forgive, break the tie, move forward. But instead of acting, you wait for confirmation upon confirmation until the urgency dies, and with it, a door that will not open again. The two angels that are warning you now have seen what's ahead. You haven't. They are not asking you to understand the whole picture. They are asking you to trust the prompting. The warning doesn't come to explain everything in detail. It comes to rescue you from what your current sight cannot yet see. That's why obedience is the highest form of faith. It is not built on evidence, it is built on trust. It is hearing the whisper in the dark and saying yes before the light appears. When you delay that yes, you allow your reasoning, fear, and comfort to take the driver's seat, and the path you were called to walk begins to vanish beneath your feet. Many people don't realize that the divine door does not stay open forever. Just like Noah's Ark had a window of invitation, so does your destiny. When it is time to move, heaven will send the signal. And if you ignore it, you will wake up one day wondering why everything that once had life now feels stale, closed, or heavy. That heaviness you're carrying, it's not always depression or exhaustion. Sometimes it's delayed obedience pressing on your spirit like a weight you can't shake. You were not built to ignore truth. When you do, your body, mind, and spirit begin to revolt. You feel scattered, confused, disconnected, and even afraid, because you know something inside you is not aligned. And instead of changing, you try to cope. But coping is not the cure. Obedience is. When the angels come, they do not come with endless chances. They come with a message that will require courage, and that courage must be immediate, or the moment will slip. Remember Lot's wife. She delayed by one glance, and that glance cost her everything. God told her to move forward, and she looked back, thinking just one more moment in the past wouldn't hurt, but that hesitation froze her in time. Many people are frozen not because of curses or attacks, but because they refuse to act when the angels spoke. God doesn't need a thunderstorm to speak. He speaks through conviction, through that still small voice, through repeated signs you've grown numb to. But eventually the voice becomes silent, not because God is gone, but because the moment passed, and now you'll have to walk through a storm you were supposed to escape. The storm was never meant for you. The pain was never part of the plan, but your delay made it necessary. Your disobedience doesn't change God's love, but it does shift your journey. You'll still be redeemed, but now you'll be refined through fire instead of trust. That's why this is your final warning, not to condemn you, but to spare you when the Spirit stirs your heart and says, "Get out now, don't wait." When you're shown a vision that contradicts your current comfort, don't argue, obey. The blessing is always on the other side of action. You cannot think your way into alignment. You must move your way into it. The angels sent to warn you aren't offering you another philosophy. They're offering you a divine exit from destruction. It may not feel like danger right now, things may still look manageable, but the reason they're warning you now is because the collapse comes after the comfort fades. God always sends a warning before the shaking. And those who survive are the ones who listen when nothing looks wrong yet, but everything in their spirit says, "Leave." Some of you are being warned to let go of people who are smiling in your face but poisoning your soul. Others are being called to start what they've been procrastinating on for years. Because the time is now, the blessing is timed, the window is narrow, the oil is running low. If you don't move, the next season won't wait for you. Your delay does not just affect you. It affects every life connected to your obedience. There are people who will never hear the word they need because you didn't write the book. There are souls crying out for answers that your obedience was meant to deliver. Every act of delay becomes a ripple of absence in the lives of others. The angels are warning you because you are carrying more than your own future. You are carrying destinies that are waiting for your yes. When you move, things will align. When you act, provision will appear. You're not waiting for resources. Resources are waiting for your obedience. You're not waiting for clarity. Clarity is on the other side of movement. God doesn't need to show you the whole staircase. He just needs you to take the next step. The angels have come to give you that final chance before the shift is sealed. Listen, move, don't delay. You've waited long enough. And heaven won't wait forever. Repeating cycles are not coincidence. They are unanswered warnings. There's a reason you keep ending up in the same emotional places, fighting the same battles with different faces, reliving the same heartbreak under new names. It's not because life is cruel or random. It's because heaven is speaking through the cycle, and you still haven't listened. When the two angels come to warn you, their voices may first appear soft, subtle, an intuitive whisper, a gentle unease. But when you ignore that initial warning, they return through patterns. Patterns are the divine's way of magnifying what you've minimized. They come not to torment you, but to awaken you. And if you won't hear the voice in peace, then heaven will speak through the repetition of pain. That repeated betrayal, it's not just bad luck, it's a message. That job that always feels like a cage, no matter how new the title or pay, it's a message. The same old fears that show up every time you try to grow. It's not weakness, it's a warning. The angels are trying to shake you out of the illusion that time will change what only your decision can. You don't escape the cycle by waiting. You escape it by obeying the unseen truth beneath it. You've cried out, "Why does this keep happening to me?" But the real question is, what have you refused to confront, release, or walk away from? The reason it keeps happening is because you haven't changed your response. You're still answering new seasons with old obedience, still negotiating with what you should have renounced, still choosing comfort over calling, still choosing familiarity over freedom. But cycles don't break with time, they break with truth. And truth is what these two angels are desperate for you to see. One shows you a vision of what could be. a life where you're free, aligned, walking in power. But the other confronts what is. The patterns, the excuses, the delays, the denial. Together, they urge you to make the one decision you keep postponing. You think it's small, but in the spirit realm, it's everything. Because each time you ignore the pattern, the grip of it grows tighter. You become more numb, more tolerant of dysfunction, more accepting of less than what God promised. And soon, you begin calling the cycle normal. But what you've normalized is actually a warning sign. You weren't meant to live in repetition. You were made for transformation. But transformation requires confrontation. You have to look at the people you've kept around because they're familiar, even though their presence is delaying your growth. You have to admit the lies you've believed about yourself that keep attracting the same broken situations. You have to stop blaming the devil for what your decisions keep creating. Not every attack is demonic. Some are the natural consequence of spiritual disobedience. And every time you try to escape without confronting, the cycle resets. The faces may change, the setting might shift, but the lesson will remain. You'll be in a new job with the same frustration, a new relationship with the same wounds, a new city with the same emptiness, because geography never changes what obedience hasn't. The two angels aren't punishing you. They're preserving you. They are showing you that the repetition is grace in disguise. Because as long as the cycle repeats, there is still time to choose differently, but the danger is thinking that time equals mercy. Eventually, the door that stays open closes. Eventually, what was a whisper becomes a silence. And by then, the cost is far greater. That's why they are warning you now. Repetition is not coincidence. It is alignment trying to get your attention. You keep dreaming the same dream, hearing the same scripture, crossing paths with the same message because heaven has not given up on you. But heaven won't force you either. These angels are gentle but urgent. They know your future. They've seen what's at stake. That's why they're allowing the discomfort to persist, because your deliverance is on the other side of it. But you can't be delivered from what you're still defending. You must stop protecting the patterns that are delaying your promise. The pain is there to wake you up. It's not who you are. It's what you're meant to outgrow. If you keep making room for dysfunction, you leave no room for destiny. You keep asking, when will this end? But the angels are asking, when will you change? Until you make the shift within, life will reflect the same loop. It doesn't matter how much you pray, fast, or worship. If you don't act on the warning, nothing will shift. Prayer gives you clarity, but obedience gives you change, and these angels aren't coming for your emotions. They're coming for your decision. They're saying, stop making temporary fixes for a permanent problem. Stop calling toxic people tests when you're really just afraid to let go. Stop settling for crumbs when God has called you to sit at a feast. This is the moment where the cycle can finally end. But it won't end automatically. You must choose. Will you stay in the loop, or will you step into the unknown where freedom lives? The cycle feels familiar, but it's killing you slowly, killing your joy, your peace, your faith, your sense of purpose. It's not too late, but it is urgent. The angels are sounding the alarm one last time. You don't need another confirmation. You need a confrontation with yourself. You need to look honestly at your life and admit, this is not God's best for me. This is not the vision I saw when I first believed. This is not the level I was created for. And once you admit that, you will feel the power return, because power is found in truth, and truth breaks cycles. This is the moment to obey the voice within, to act on the vision, to let go of what no longer serves your becoming. You've wandered long enough. You've circled the same mountain for years, but now the angels are drawing the line. You can't take this version of you into the next season. The cycle ends where obedience begins. And the time to begin is now. The angels are you a higher version of yourself calling you to rise. What if I told you that the two angels trying to warn you aren't flying beside you, but rising within you? What if the messengers of heaven aren't outside your being, but are divine fragments of your higher self, reaching down into your current awareness to pull you up from what you've settled into? We've been taught to look for God and His angels out there, in the sky, in events, in visions. But the deepest truth is this: the kingdom of heaven is within, and so are his messengers. The two angels sent to guide, correct, and warn you are not strangers. They are the highest parts of you, breaking through the noise of your fears, your habits, your compromises, and your conditioning. One is your divine imagination, showing you images of what could be, what must be, what is already yours in the unseen realm. The other is your spiritual knowing, an unshakable conviction that will not let you rest until you align with the truth you've tried to ignore. These are not separate beings. They are you, awakened at a higher dimension. They are not appearing to control you, but to reveal you. And this is their final attempt before you forget again, before you drown in the identity of the person you were never meant to be. You've been taught to wait on confirmation, but your spirit has been confirming the truth for years. You've had the dreams, you've felt the restlessness. You've heard the still small voice at night telling you, this is not your home, this is not your limit. This is not the end. But you've rationalized it, minimized it, pushed it down, and tried to silence it with busyness or comfort. And now, because you've delayed, the voice is rising louder, and you call it anxiety, you call it unease. But it's not mental, it's spiritual. The higher you is pressing against the version of you that refuses to evolve. The angels aren't just speaking to you, they're trying to become you. They are a future version of you trying to break through the shell of who you were. They are not satisfied with your survival. They're calling you to step into your authority, your mission, your becoming. And if you don't listen, the conflict will grow, not because God is punishing you, but because your spirit cannot coexist with a life that contradicts your purpose. When the angels speak, they use your own inner world as a megaphone. They come in visions, dreams, repeating patterns, divine appointments, and inner urgencies that make no sense to the logic, but feel undeniably real. And every time you ignore them, your peace diminishes, because peace does not come from staying in comfort. It comes from living in truth. The angels are trying to bring you back into alignment, but alignment requires death, the death of false identity, false attachments, and false narratives. That's why it's so hard to listen. You've built a life around a version of you that no longer fits, and the angels are asking you to break it before it breaks you. And make no mistake, it will break, because God loves you too much to let you remain in a lie. The two angels within you are not here to give you suggestions. They're giving you instructions for survival. Your survival not in the physical sense, but spiritual. You've lost part of your essence by staying in places that suppress your light, by tolerating environments that make you question your worth, by obeying systems that demand you shrink to be accepted. And now the angels rise. They rise as memories of your calling. They rise as a sense of urgency you cannot shake. They rise as a holy agitation in your soul. You keep trying to numb it, distract from it, justify ignoring it, but it only grows stronger. Because the you that heaven sees is not the version you've settled into. The angels are you whole and complete, and they are calling you to catch up with your original design. You are not being warned from a distance. You are being awakened from within. This is the time to stop playing small, stop shrinking, stop compromising, stop waiting. The angels know what's ahead. They know what's trying to destroy you behind the mask of comfort and familiarity. They see the counterfeit paths, the false promises, the delayed obedience that's keeping you from breakthrough. They're not just trying to save you, they're trying to unveil you. You think you need more instructions, but what you really need is more trust in your inner knowing. You think you need more time, but what you really need is more courage. You think you're stuck, but what's actually stuck is the part of you that keeps pretending you're powerless. The angels are shaking that illusion off of you. They are confronting the false self, the borrowed identity, the limited mindset, and they are asking you to shed it. Yes, it will be uncomfortable. Yes, it will feel like a death, but resurrection doesn't come without a cross. And this is your crossroad right now. Either you rise into the version of yourself you've always seen in glimpses, or you descend deeper into the life that numbs your fire. This is your final call before the silence becomes permanent. Before the window closes, before the chance passes, you don't need to wait for a sign. The angels are the sign, that dream you can't shake, that knowing you can't silence, that discomfort you can't soothe. They are the signal. The truth is that you already know what to do. You've just been afraid to become who you were born to be. But now there is no more time for delay. The angels have sounded the alarm from within your soul. This isn't about fixing your life. It's about becoming your life. You are the prophecy. You are the vessel. You are the answer someone else is waiting for. And the version of you that knows this, the angelic version of you, is pleading with you to stop hiding. There is no more room for fear, no more space for excuses, no more grace for delay. The shift is here, the call is now, and the only question that remains is, will you become the you that's calling, because the angels are not coming back? This is their final attempt. The rest is up to you. This is your crossroad. Choose now before destiny chooses for you. There comes a moment in every chosen one's journey where the heavens stop negotiating and destiny demands a decision. This is that moment. The two angels have been whispering, nudging, shaking you gently awake, warning you through dreams, signs, inner tension, and persistent spiritual restlessness, and now they stand before you one final time, not to persuade you, but to witness your choice. Because this isn't just a season change, this is a crossroad of eternal consequence. You're not choosing between good and evil, but between alignment and delay, between purpose and stagnation, between who you are and who you refuse to stop pretending to be. The angels are no longer asking, they are declaring it's time to surrender what has expired, time to release who and what you've outgrown, time to stop playing victim to a story you have the power to rewrite. This is not about fear, this is not about pressure, this is about timing, divine timing, and when heaven moves, it moves in perfect rhythm. If you miss this rhythm, you will not be destroyed, but you will be delayed. You will be rerouted into a wilderness that you were supposed to exit long ago, and that reroute will not come with peace, it will come with correction, not as punishment, but as realignment. The angels don't threaten, they warn. They don't force, they reveal, but once the revelation has been given, responsibility shifts into your hands, and now it's in yours. This is your crossroad. You've been shown the truth. You've been awakened from the fog of confusion. You've seen the vision of what could be. You've felt the ache of what no longer belongs, and still you hesitate. Still you entertain delay disguised as waiting on God. But God is no longer waiting. He has moved. The cloud has shifted, and you must shift with it or be left behind. There are some choices you can revisit later, but not this one. This one is final, not final because grace has ended, but because grace for this version of your life is closing. And to cling to it now is to cling to something God has already left. This is your moment to decide, before destiny decides for you, and when destiny decides, it does not ask your permission. The very thing you're too afraid to let go of, life will tear from your hands. The very chapter you're stalling in, heaven will close with or without your consent, because to delay is to drift, and to drift is to lose sight of your direction. And when you lose your direction, you become vulnerable to deception. That's why the angels are speaking with such intensity now, because they've seen what you can't. They've seen the path ahead, the danger you're walking toward, the weight you're carrying that will break you if you don't release it now. You think it's just a hard season, but it's not. It's a final opportunity to obey before divine intervention forces your evolution through pain. Not every loss in your life is the enemy's attack. Sometimes it's God's mercy removing what your disobedience refused to release. You keep praying for peace, but peace doesn't come from comfort. It comes from clarity followed by action. You've received the clarity, now the action must follow. This isn't the time to wait for another sign. The signs have already come, repeatedly, loudly, gently, urgently. The relationship that drains your soul, the opportunity that no longer feels right, the environment that strangles your creativity. The voice of God has spoken through all of it. And now it's your move. This is your crossroad. Choose, because if you don't choose, the shift will choose for you. And when life chooses for you, it comes as a shaking, not a whisper. What you ignore in the spirit becomes a storm in the natural. What you postpone in the soul becomes pressure in the body. That fatigue you feel isn't just from doing too much, it's from staying in a place that demands you suppress your true self. That anxiety isn't just mental, it's the signal of spiritual resistance. The angels aren't trying to scare you. They're trying to save you from the timeline of regret, save you from the weight of unfulfilled purpose, save you from the version of life that looks good to others but feels like prison to your spirit. This is your moment to choose differently. to choose truth over tradition, to choose faith over fear, to choose purpose over people pleasing, to choose movement over maintenance. You weren't born to maintain a life that insults your calling. You weren't born to babysit blessings that have expired. You were born to grow, to rise, to stretch, to walk by faith, but none of that can happen until you choose, and choosing means loss. You will lose comfort. You will lose approval. You will lose the illusion that you're in control, but what you gain is far greater: peace, clarity, alignment, freedom. These angels didn't come to make you feel better. They came to make you see better. And now that you see, you can never unsee. Now that you know, you are accountable. You will not be judged for what you didn't know, but you will be judged by what you refused to obey once you did. This is that hour. This is that call. This is that final invitation. Step forward before the road behind you collapses. Walk into the unknown before life pushes you through it. Choose your future while you still have the power to do so, because if you don't, the future will choose for you. And it may not be a version you like. The angels have come, the message has been given, the urgency is real, and the door is open, but not for long. Destiny is at your doorstep. Choose now, or it will choose for you.